is not my extension. It grows out of me. I do enjoy the pain at times. And yes, I know. Are you burning? No.
Your hair was never allowed to be itself, and your hair is something that is unruly. It's uncontrollable.
When I was growing up, I used to have this aunt who used to plait my hair so tight. So tight. I mean, your hair is like this short and she wants to force 2 lines. You know, what 2 lines means is that you've got 1 row of hair this side, 1 row of hair this side. And it means she needs to pull it
together.
And by that time, you've got China eyes. And all your hair is like pulled. And you come home, you can't do anything. Woo, and everybody, and your skull is like swollen and it's sitting up there. Because you can't laugh, you can't do anything. And if you try and eat, you can feel all your nerve endings. And then I would just spend the night crying. And my mother would just feel so bad. She would just like snip that hair out eventually because she couldn't bear the pain of her child being in so much pain because she's like, this hair. And my aunt would say, that's it. Don't ask me to plait your child's hair again. That's it. I'm done. But we like it, don't we?
We want to look good.
Yeah.
We want to look good.
Yeah.
And you forget your hair's limitations. And so you want to be like her. And so you're like, I saw it and I want it.
Yes. And the people at the hair salon will never tell you, sister, you can't have it.
Yeah, you don't look good in that.
Like your hair, as short as it is.
They're making money.
Ne?
If you come and say, I want this hairstyle, they're not going to say, no, this is not going to suit you. Oh, okay, fine, that's fine. We're going to do your hair just like that. And then you pay them, you look nice. And everyone in the salon says, oh, you look nice. When you get out of the shop, it's like, sure, what happened to me? That's always the case.
My name is Khanyi Makubane. I'm at a crossroads in my life, and as a result, I'm tempted to do something different with my hair. You may not see the relevance, but ask any girl. When we are in a state of confusion, it's usually our hair that bears the brunt. It's taken me some time to grow my hair into this lovely head of dreads that you now see, and frankly, part of me is reluctant to let it go. But as you can also see that they are now taking on a life of their own and are becoming unmanageable. That's the word, unmanageable. The word which has impacted so strongly on the fate of us black women and the fate of our hair. I think that's what I'll call my article. This unmanageable mane. Oh, by the way, did I mention that I'm a writer? Well, writing is a way to make a living as well as a cathartic exercise, and in this case, it may actually help me make the right decision about what to do with my hair, lest I'm traumatized in the process. In fact, so strong is this possibility that I'm not even going to risk writing this in the first person. I'm going to develop an alter ego, a fictional character who will navigate the entire hair thing on my behalf. Perhaps she will help me make up my mind. I think I'll call her Bongi. Bongi woke up this Wednesday morning like she did on every other morning, but this morning was different. For the first time in a long time, she couldn't decide what to do with her hair. In fact, so undecided was she that she found she could not even remove her dookie at all. Bongi had been through quite a few hairstyles in her time and finally settled on the natural dreadlocks sister look. This morning, however, she felt as if she might be missing out on something as she thought about all the choices that a young black woman had in South Africa today. She had noticed the night before while watching her favorite soapie that none of the stars in that show sported natural hair. Rather, they had an array of different weaves and perhaps even wigs, and that is when Bongi's dilemma started. Was her choice of hair the right one for her at this stage of her life? And why do so many black women opt for the long hair weave look anyway? Was this political? Could it be that Western constructs of glamour and beauty had really stayed with the sisters even 14 years into a democracy which spoke about black pride and freedom? But what she did concede to, though, was that this intellectual thought process would not really help her make up her mind about her own hair anyway. Being a South African woman with attitude and a large dose of curiosity, Bongi decided she would investigate the whole matter of hair in her country in the hopes that this would help her come to some decision about her own hair. But what she also knew is that in order to understand South Africa's contemporary attitudes towards hair, she would have to look backwards first. One of the first things she noticed was that natural hair was more acceptable in the 40s and 50s, and that none of the models then sported long hair weaves. But she also noticed that they were also much heavier than the models of today. Natural hair and big bones. Quite the opposite of the Western beauty and the kind of black model who's acceptable today. By the 60s, not only was straight hair the latest rage, but skin lightness had also become big business. By the 70s, skin lightness seemed to have disappeared, but the hair straighteners were still in full demand. Well, the hair straighteners just kept following us, and even today, in 2008, they are still here. I guess one could say hair straighteners are a girl's best friend or enemy, depending on your point of view. Our moms grew up in like the 60s and the 70s, and it was all about the hot comb.
Yeah. And the stones.
And the stones.
Yes.
You know, and the things that we have done, the things that we have put ourselves through. Like, I mean, Nakedi Ribane has this book called, Perspectives of Black Beauty, you know what I'm saying? And she's got like a nice gallery of pictures from like the beauty queens from the 60s, the 70s and things like that. And you look at their hairstyles, the Dolly Ratebes of the day and all those other ladies, and you can see that hair has been set. Yeah. You could run a hurricane through that hair. It won't budge, it will stay. You know what I'm saying? And I think it's always because, unfortunately for us black women, we've always been aspiring to look a certain way. We've never been affirmed in our own right to say it's okay to have a slew too. If you're gonna comb it, if it's gonna look nice, it's almost as if it's no different now than it was then, because back then they were aspiring to something different. The Billie Holidays of the world and the Ella Fitzgerald and the way that they looked, those were the great jazz musicians, and everybody wanted to dress like them and look like them. And so it always feels as if black women have always been aspiring to something.
I think it was also because your hair was never accepted.
Yes.
Your hair was never allowed to be itself, and your hair is something that is unruly. It's uncontrollable. You can't do anything with it. You can't put a comb easily through it because it's just uncombable. It's untamable. And every picture, every magazine, every television program has got Naomi Campbell with flowing hair, Janet. It's got all these people who have got artificial hair, and even your own family and siblings talk about your hair and how, what's wrong with your hair? When are you doing your hair?
Bongi felt like she was getting to the bottom of hair trends today based on her knowledge of our recent history. But she wondered if all this fuss about hair had been created by the arrival of the Europeans onto the shores of this most southern tip of Africa. She fantasized about the hassle-free days before the Europeans came with their long hair and combs and hairbrushes and hats and traded beads for tracts of land. Perhaps beads is where it all began. But she had to concede that she knew very little about what the cosmetic preferences of her ancient ancestors had been. There was only one way to find out, and that was to ask the elders.
Besicobisa ivaselina bese sifaka lekama lichise maringabi bovu malichisa malifaka ezindweleni zivele bese ziyaluleka zibe zinhle okanye mangabe awufuni lezi angikhona ama type abomama abangafuni ezilulekayo mhlawumbe this ordinary hair yakho uyikame nje kahle uyigcobisa amafutha bese wenza amagoda kwakhona istyle esamagoda angithi manje khona ama threads khona ini leso sikhathi kwakhona amagoda sigcine mhlambi mazinkulu uchina one ngapha onivulene endlela ubukeke umuhle mangabe yakusiya amagoda khona le isibhaca.
Who told my grandmother in her time that she had to torture her hair, rape her hair with a hot stone, pulling it, making it straight, so she could look like, I don't know, Billie Holiday, Ella Fitzgerald, or whoever their icons were at that time that had the straight hair. And you know, us black women have always followed women who have been working in industries where they haven't been allowed to be themselves. You know, industries where the benchmark of beauty is lighter is brighter, you know, and more light-headed you are. Oh, sorry, not light-headed. The more light-skinned you are, the more beautiful you are. Bongi was amazed that even then, it seemed that straight hair was the preference, even if it meant bending your head with scalding stones. But she wanted to find out more about hair in the pre-colonial days and was off to a well-known supporter of natural hair, Dr. Dread.
Dread mhlambe sibiza sisho ngegama eli wrong yabona because sikhula kanje it's been called dreadlock. The white people mabafika eAfrica ngokuya ngabo babone into dreadful yabona because kakhulu le hairstyle le yethu le beyenzwa kakhulu ama warriors. We can talk about the warriors from Kenya, Angola, even in India. There were warriors who had dreadlocks, you see, as a sign of expressing themselves. Yabona la eSouth Africa futhi kule democracy le yethu entsha uthola ukuthi manje kunabantu abasa believer kulempilo yakudala le yabona ukuthi mawumuhle fanele ube nenwele ezi straight yabona or uzicolorishe zibe red or zibe njani ngokuya ngalabantu laba abafanele bakucashe kakhulu namasonto bewangayizwisisi kahle le ndaba yama dreadlocks ezikolweni nakhona kusane izikolo ezingezwisisi shuthi manje uzothola ukuthi manje usesikolweni abayifuni usesontweni abayifuni dreadlock noma uphuma esikolweni usoyosebenza nasemsebenzini abayifuni bafuna ukuthi ubambe iphondo ustraighten up einwele zakho so you find ukuthi manje I problem ivela kulabantu laba abasasalele emuva in terms of the identity yomuntu fanele benjani ku corporate esikolweni or nasemakhaya abazali abanye abayithandi dreadlocks so uyabona ukuthi manje mawenza dreadlocks so ucabana nabantu abaningi ngokungaka understand ukuthi yini idreadlock uyenzeleni ngokuthi abanye abazothi uyenza dreadlock ayikufanele yabona so yirasta na yabona manje izinto ezinjalo zi create I mixed ideas ukuthi manje yini dreadlock because abantu abangayi understand yibo abayigcizelela phansi dreadlock yabona kanti ke bakhona ke abayi understand dreadlock and they wearing it very proudly yabona.
Traditionally, I think a woman's power lies in her hair. I think it's your strength. I think it's who you are. I think it's your sense of identity and all the things that you did with it creatively to make yourself look better, to enhance how you feel, how you look. And the fact that you played with it. We put beads in it. We would put black wool. We would do different styling with it, different shapes, which symbolize different things, and that was our beauty. And we are now being told that is not right. All the curls and kinks and naps and everything that are who you are must be removed because they don't appeal in this changing society that we live in. What are you supposed to be? If somebody tells you to change from what you are, what are you supposed to change to? Why? How long? What right do they have to tell you that you must not be you? Who do you become? And so in terms of that, it's always been an issue, and it is difficult. And yes, we get educated, we go into the corporate world because we want to fit in, but it's a constant battle because you go to your traditional home where they do traditional things and they'd like to see your traditional, and you come and you've got this 100% human hair that blows in the wind. And your grandmother doesn't know what to do with that. Yet, at the end of the weekend, you've got to go to the office on a Monday morning and you must have that look. So you always seem to be dancing to different people's music just to be able to belong and fit in.
I've always just not been into chemicals. For my matric dance, I think I matriculated in 1997. And I think, because, I'd always had what we call kafurar, which is a bit of a, coarse hair, but I mean, it's like an insult to ourselves because it's oh, you're kafurar, so I had a kafurar, and my mother's like, please, my child, just for your matric dance, look nice. Go and do an S-cal, So I went and I did an S-cal, you know what I'm saying? And that was the last time I ever had chemically treated hair because after my matric dance, I cut it off. And since then I've just had this love-hate relationship with dreadlocks. It grows to a certain level, cut it off, grow it again, cut it off, grow it again. Because for me, I've just never had that thing in me that said to me, I look beautiful when my hair is straight and it's silky. And you do the no lie. What do they call it? No lie. It blows in the wind. It blows in the wind. I've just never been able to do that. There's just always been a part of me that's always appreciated that mess. Because it is a mess. Because you have to wet your hair a little bit. You comb it, and then it's set. And that's what it's always been about. The thing is, my hair is not my extension. It grows out of me. You know what I'm saying? And I think we've all braided our hair. And we've all loved the feeling of having braided hair and things like that. But just imagine, just the term of saying it's a hair extension. What are you extending? And what are you gaining from extending it? Because yes, it's a hair extension, but at the end of the day, that natural hair comes out and that hair extension is sitting here now. And you've got your natural growth sitting here. So whatever we do to our hair, our natural self always comes through. But we do that, you know what I'm saying? It's in our budget every month, like Marcia was saying, that it's how we feel socially adaptable. For instance, how many of us go to our corporate environment wearing our traditional African clothes? We don't do that. You know what I'm saying? We wear our corporate suits, we wear our blouses, our pants, our skirts, our high heels, and our pantyhose, and we've got the right look. So we are like the black version of their corporate culture. When President Thabo Mbeki came up with his African Renaissance era, and it kind of comes back to our own modern day Steve Biko. I'm not comparing the two in any shape or form, but I'm just saying in terms of the black consciousness, I am an African, that kind of sentiment coming through, and you're starting to see people not just change their hairstyles, but their names as well. How many times did a person who was Esther yesterday and today they've gone back to their natural name, they're now in Tabiseng, and you no longer realize it's the same person. So I think that's where we are right now on the one hand. We're going all African, going all natural, but there's also that crazy MTV phase and that era, and the Beyoncés of the world, and with their golden hair. So these days, Black women are finding themselves falling into categories, and I wonder how many of us actually take time to stop and listen to ourselves and say, does this hairstyle represent who I am?
On the subject of men and hair, for me, it just gets a bit confusing because a lot of the time, whoever this particular guy is will meet you and you are young, working, whatever, making your own money, and you're experimenting with your hair and you're trying out different things. And he likes you and he will comment, he will compliment you when you change them, when you do different things. When the relationship gets more serious, then whatever his values and ideals will then get pushed upon you. Because then all of a sudden he wants to tell you what appeals to him should the relationship continue. It then gets pretty tricky because part of the reason you did it was, yes, you enjoyed it, but you also wanted to please him because you would change it and he would like it and he would comment and he would like you with your new hair. And then now, when the relationship gets serious, he'll probably tell you what his preference is. And it almost feels like the golden handcuffs are settling in, as in this is what he wants and this is what appeals to him going forward. And it's there's a power shift and it becomes very uncomfortable because it's supposed to be your hair and you're supposed to be enjoying it, and it just feels a little weird. And so I don't know.
I feel that's where your confidence comes in, you know what I'm saying, and your self-esteem comes in. Because if you feel comfortable with who you are and the way you dress, so why should you be moved by somebody's words? You know, if you feel that I'm comfortable with the way I look and the way my hair is, if somebody says, oh yeah, if you cut your hair a little bit shorter, you're gonna look nice, who are you to tell me? You know, so I think sometimes you gotta, if you have that strong confidence, even if your partner says you got to change your look, because sometimes I feel men have got their own ideas. You know, he has met you the way you are, but now wants to change you.
Yes.
To who?
Like, I can't be a black Kate Moss, people. Let's be realistic. I cannot be a black Kate Moss. It's not gonna happen. Yes. And so if he fantasizes or has ideas about me looking like Kate Moss, it's not gonna happen anytime soon. And that's frustrating.
Well, Bongi was amazed at the history of hair in South Africa and thought that when she got home, she would make some decisive choices about her own hair. But when she woke up the following morning, she found that she still could not make up her mind and knew that her journey through the maze of hair issues in South Africa was still not quite complete. They say if you want your hair to be straighter, you must endure.
I think what is important is keeping your hair neat and clean.
I'm great when I'm like this, and nobody should tell me, hey, your hair, you are what, you are what. I'm the only person who knows myself, and this is just God's gift.